All right. So we're going to be talking about solving equations by factoring. And the main thing with this is we're going to be using a property that's called the zero factor property. And the zero factor property says that if you have got the product of two or more things and the product is zero, then one or the other or both of your factors must be equal to zero. And if these are variable, then both of them could be zero. Then a equals zero or b is equal to zero. Now, this seems like a fairly self-evident thing that if you've got two things multiplied together, then one or the other or both of those numbers are going to be zero. What this means is that if I have something that looks like x plus 1 times x minus 3, if I've got the product of two things and the product is 0, then that means that either one or the other or both of these is equal to 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to set each variable factor equal to 0 and then solve. So that means that I could have x plus 1 equal to 0 or x minus 3 equal to 0. And then we're going to go ahead and just solve each of these. So x could be equal to 1 or x could be equal to 3. And if I check this out, if x were, if x were equal to, negative 1, if x were equal to negative 1, then negative 1 plus 1 would be 0. Negative 1 plus 3 would be negative 4. 0 times negative 4 would be equal to 0. So that one would check out. If it were 3, 3 plus 1 would be 4. 3 minus 3 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. So not just one or the other, both of these are solutions to this equation. So this is what we mean when we're solving using the zero factor property. We're setting each factor equal to 0 and we're solving. Now, what that means is that we can solve a quadratic or something in this form of, say I had something in the form of like x squared minus x minus 6 equal to 0. I could take something like this and we're going to factor it. Then we're going to use that zero factor property to solve. So here, my key number is negative 6. I need a factor pair of negative 6 that adds up to be negative 1. And it looks like it's going to be, whoops, what am I doing? It's going to be, it would be 2 and negative 3 here. So this is going to be x plus 2 times x minus 3 is equal to 0. This is going to give me solutions of x equals negative 2 or x equals a positive 3. I seem to like that x minus 3 factor. But we can use that all the time to solve these. Now, there's more than one way to do these, but this is by far the fastest way of solving an equation like this. A couple things to note is that if you don't have everything all on one side, you're going to need to move your terms to one side. So say we had something like, x squared plus 16 is equal to 8x. here you're going to need to add or subtract first to get all terms to one side. Then we're going to fully factor and use our zero factor property. So with this, I would, on something like this, I'll do something like subtract 8x from both sides. That way I've got x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 0. This is actually a special form. This one's going to be a little bit interesting because factor pair of 16, that adds up to be negative 8. No, this is going to be negative 4 and negative 4. So x minus 4 times x minus 4, or you might see it, that's x minus 4 squared is equal to 0. Here, I am going to have, oops, I don't know why I decided to put parentheses around that. I'm going to end up with just one answer here. X is 4, because both of these are the same thing. So I can have up to 2 answers here, but we've only got one. Some other things to note is, say I've got something that looks, oh, I don't know, maybe a little bit different. Say I've got like 2x squared is equal to 8x. What we're going to do, still need to move all our terms to one side. 2x squared minus 8x. And something else to keep your eye out for is your greatest common factor. So I could take out a 2x, and that'll be x minus 4. Now here, remember, if I can set my variable factors equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0. That one's pretty easy to see. I'll add 4 to both sides. I've got x could be 4. But what about that 2x? Well, let's do that. Let's set 2x equal to 0. Okay, I'll divide both sides by 2. X could be 0. This 2, I can't, this is a constant. It's not a variable. So that 2 isn't going to contribute anything to my solution. So here I've just got x equals 0 or x equals 4. Alrighty, that's all I've got for now. We'll see you in the next video.